Chinese residents of Tibet are living in Tibet only after Tibet came under Chinese occupation. So at least we can turn the tables on Beijing, but we are most reluctant to do anything. So what happens is that every now and then, China ups the ante, it provokes India, and India responds in a very similar fashion.
All right, Anil Trigunayat, if I can bring you in at this point, how do you think India should treat this at a time when we are trying to normalize and stabilize economic ties with Beijing?
Well, as you know, the sovereignty and territorial integrity are supreme as far as India is concerned. But this particular incident, which has happened, has repeated again. And as Dr. Chalani said, frankly, earlier also, when the team was supposed to go from India, they said, we can't do, you don't need any visas. So they keep provoking India in this particular sense. I don't know if it is a part of their policy, because if you hear their spokesperson, she said they acted as per the rules and laws. So that means that is very much the case, that anybody from Arunachal Pradesh passing through China or visiting China will continue to face these problems. And I fully agree, although we have very strongly protested, which has been the normal diplomatic channel of doing so. But if we wish to escalate, we will have to continue to find new ways of providing them equal kind of a pain as they have been inflicting on Indian citizens from Arunachal Pradesh. Now, this is something that is absolutely requires a harder line. But on the other hand, India and China both on the broader scale are trying to normalize ties, trying to take them forward under a very, very difficult global situation. And that is the reason that this will continue to attract greater attention. And I'm sure that Indian government will continue to take it up in other discussion forums or the channel of communications that we have, apart from the one-time immediate action that was taken by our consulate in Shanghai, as well as the Ministry of External Affairs.
Right. How do you see the timing of this, Mr. Chalani? Because we often hear of staple visas. We hear of athletes from Arunachal Pradesh being denied entry into China. But perhaps this is the first known case. Is there a message to it? Also, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson has denied harassment of this Indian national from Arunachal.
If detaining a female for 18 hours at Shanghai Airport is not harassment, what is harassment then? China is one of the very few places in the world, probably the only country in the world, where a transit passenger, an international transit passenger, coming from outside China and passing through a Chinese airport to go to a third country has to go through immigration. In no other country am I aware where a transit passenger requires to go through immigration. So first, this is the strange practice in China. Second, we talk about India and China being engaged in normalizing ties. But it's interesting that that effort at normalizing ties does not deter China from provoking India. This is only the latest in a series of provocations by China since Modi and Xi Jinping decided, when they met on the sidelines of a summit, to try and normalize relations.
Right.
So the question is, why is it that only India feels restrained? Why is it that China continues to up the ante against India? This is something we need to think about. And most fundamentally, I think, and this is the key point, that Tibet remains at the center of the India-China divide. Look at any issue between India and China, territorial disputes, diplomatic tensions, feuds over river waters, all center on Tibet. And yet, India is so reluctant to even spotlight, to shine a light on Tibet as the core issue between India and China. We can do it in ways that does not require or does not amount to renouncing formally any of our previously stated positions on Tibet. So we need to find ways to reclaim our leverage.
Right. So clearly, this is messaging by China that it's not given up claims on its core issues, and they also want to test India's stand while both sides are negotiating how to put the relationship on track. We've run out of time, but thank you very much, Brahmachalani, Anuj Trigunath, for being with us. Let's shift focus also to the passenger vehicle segment. Tata Motors Passenger Vehicles has relaunched its iconic Sierra in India with an introductory price of 11.49 lakh rupees. The launch featured the ICE-powered variants. However, an all-electric version will be launched later. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, Shailesh Chandra, CEO and Managing Director at Tata Motors Passenger Vehicles, said that the company is eyeing a double-digit growth this fiscal year.
Actually, you named the cars and you will see that there was a missing piece in the portfolio, because the way we have designed our portfolio that, say, once a customer buys the car for the first time, maybe a Tiago, for the whole life cycle, whole life, the customer has an option of upgrading in the same showroom, which is the Tata showroom. So you have a full continuity that we have tried to give right from Tiago to Harrier Safari. But this was the missing link, which was the mid-size SUV, which Sierra very well fits in and gives the portfolio continuity that we wanted. So it will bring very different customer set. It is a segment which has been growing fast. It has grown big in size. Nearly 40 to 45,000 cars get sold in this segment. So it has actually plugged a big gap, and it has come with a very, very differentiated offering at a very, very compelling price. So it has a big role to play in our portfolio and gives us bridges the discontinuity that otherwise we had in our portfolio.
What are the initial volumes for the Sierra that you're looking at?
So I would not like to specifically talk about the volume. Of course, we have planned for certain production. It will go through the ramp-up phase. But just to give you some sense, today we would be in SUV segment about 16-17% market share. We hope that with Sierra, our market share in SUV segment can go up to 20% plus, say 20 to 25%, anywhere between that.
What is the market sentiment right now post the GST cut and the festive season, Mr. Chandra?
Yeah, I think, somebody asked me, how you would summarize 2025. I think the summary is clear that GST has been the biggest highlight of 2025. That really, switched the sentiment of customers towards positivity from otherwise where we were seeing that under pressure. And you have seen in September and October, the growth of the industry was 5% and 17% respectively. Whereas in the first half of the year, it was a decline of 1.5% or so. Also in November, we see that the growth might be double-digit growth. So 3 months we have seen post GST that the growth rates have been in double-digit, and therefore I hope that the sentiment continues going forward. And I feel optimistic that H2 can be a double-digit growth, but overall at a year level, it might be still a single-digit growth, say 5% plus minus 2.
All right. I would ask you about growth targets for Tata Motors in FY26, if you can give us some color.
In FY26, I can only say that we are definitely eyeing a double-digit growth. But in the first half, our growth rates were not that great. But in quarter 2, if you see, we were 10% growth. But in second half, we expect that we will be able to garner double-digit growth also. So
right.
Let's see at a year level where we land.
Okay. Will there be an EV version of the Sierra ever?
Absolutely. We are committed to bringing Sierra EV. It should come sometime in the next financial year, in the first half of next financial year.
Okay. And my last question, the fact that you're bringing back the Sierra shows that nostalgia works. Customers have a certain image in mind of products that they've seen on the roads, and it really works for companies to bring back those brands to life. Could there be more such experiments in the offing? You've often been asked, Mr. Chandra, about bringing an off-roader. Is there something in mind that you may want to bring back from the past?
No, first, the first part of your question, we are privileged as Tata Motors to have some brands, from the past which have been assets, which have been emotions in the, among the customers in the market, and therefore, it is an opportunity for us to nurture those brands, to get those brands back in their new avatar, which is relevant for the new age customers. It's definitely an opportunity, and this is the start of that. Hopefully, we will be able to further experiment going forward. No concrete plans about it, but it's an opportunity, big opportunity for us. As far as Sierra is concerned, it is made on the Argos platform, which is AWD ready, and we are committed to bringing AWD on Sierra in ICE.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. More news and updates continue right here.